Welcome back, guys, to episode 3. I am Oscar Ramos here with my buddy.
Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Richie here.
So today I just wanted to, I wanted to go over some stuff that I guess it's maybe something I should have probably addressed like sooner than later. I don't know. Just how I guess how I got into the space, into like the real estate, CrossFit.
Yeah, I think that's something that we missed in some of the first couple episodes. Like, I think part of our introduction, this is the CoOp Athletic Podcast.
Yes.
And, your background, you have 4 gyms. But I think a lot of people that are listening to this want to know, how you opened your first gym.
Yeah. So I think, so just like starting in the beginning, like most of the I got into the space, I got into CrossFit because I just needed a break from something else. And I talked about that in like the first episode. But what a lot of people don't know is that I actually do commercial real estate.
Yeah.
That's like my bread and butter. It's what I've always done. I did a little bit of residential like back in the day. Not a fond of it. It's funny. I became like a really good taxi driver though. Like I was just driving people around and like.
Oh, like legit taxi driver, or just
like legit
picking up your buddies?
No, like legit taxi driver. Like people are like, I want to go see this house in like, I don't know, 20 miles away. And I was like, okay, let's go. And I'm like, like having like weird small talk conversations. Yeah. And I'm like, this fucking sucks. Like I hate
those
this.
Conversations suck.
Yeah, dude. It's like
small talk.
Yeah.
Oh,
but what's funny though? So I used to have a coach that told me the best advice ever. And he goes, hey man, you driving around like doing these like conversations. He goes, look, he's like, you can't discriminate. I was like, okay. He's like, you gotta follow the rules. You gotta do what you gotta do. You cannot discriminate. I don't care if they look like bums. I don't care like black, white, Chinese, yellow, purple. I don't care. Like you give them all the same service. I was like, all right, I get it, man. He goes, but you know the one thing you could discriminate? And I was like, what? He's all, they're broke. I was like, huh. Yeah. It was kind of interesting because it put it in perspective, right? Because it's like, hey, man, I'm here. I'm taking you out because I'm trying to make money. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So you start like realizing that. But so moving fast forward, like I was in real estate. I was doing really, really well. 2008 bubble happened. And 2006 bubble happened. And then everyone got murdered. Like we lost a ton of money, like as a company. So again, like had a rough life in my life, whatever, decided to open CrossFit. And I think that the part about CrossFit is that I used a lot of my real estate background to figure out how to buy or lease a building. Like I already understood.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I already understood like, price per square foot and like I knew what a CUP was. And for you guys that don't know, that's a conditional use permit. And like I knew what that was, and I knew the hiccups from it. And for anyone that's just getting into business, like there's a couple details you got to look at, like that you got to understand. Like number one, you got to understand the city you're going into, right? Like demographically, does that fit for you? The people that you're going to be attracting, does that fit for you? The medium income, like bro, like you have some people. Like, again, like you can't discriminate, right? But if they're broke, man. Like if they don't got money, they don't got money, man. Like, you know what I mean? So maybe if you can make the price point comfortable enough that you're still providing a great service, but you're not going to see an Equinox in Compton, right? Like you're just not going to see that, dude. Like, I'm not going to see an Equinox in North Las Vegas, like in the freaking hood. Like I'm just not going to see one. You know what I mean? So, because they've realized like, well, we can't offer all these amenities or services for X price, right? So, hence why you come up with your certain prices.
Yeah.
But what I realized, man, like setting up a location like a fitness facility is like how to do it, like what to buy per square foot, like what makes sense,
Well, let's go like way back to like the beginning of someone really trying to opening up their own gym.
Okay.
I have a lot of buddies that are on Instagram.
Yeah.
Trying to build a brand.
Yeah.
So they have like their backyard gyms, and they have, I think, probably like the first step before you go into a building is establishing a client.
Yeah.
Also, not just one, but like multiple clients,
Mm-hmm.
because you just don't want to, like you said, opening up a facility and you have no one.
So, it's kind of weird, right? Like, I really think that if you're going to open up a facility, right, you do need a client base, right? Like, you need to know your shit, man. Like, I started my facility just asking my friends, right? We do this in real estate, it's like the sphere of influence, like who we can like hand reach and bring them in, right? Like who we can talk to and say, hey, come and work out with us and we can do A, B, C, and D, right? And offering like a reasonable trial, like, hey, come in, try me out for a week, man. Like see if what I do is worth your time, right? Because I think the biggest thing that most people forget is that even you with me right now, like you're spending time with me, right?
Yeah.
We're hanging out.
Yeah.
So like I need to make it worth it for you to be here. And it's same thing for me, right? I need to make sure that what I'm doing and I'm spending is worth it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what people forget. Like people are so busy now on Instagram. Like they're spending their 3 hours on Instagram, like finding time. They like watching people work out though, bro.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of people are spending time on social media, but I think that's just our new lifestyle, dude.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's funny that we'll kind of come back to the topic, but on social media, our past generation doesn't know how to understand social media.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot of learning, and because we have it, a lot of people are taking advantage of it by building their own brands and like you said, establishing that client base. I got friends that are doing it right now, and they're pretty successful, but they're still in their backyard.
Yep. And I think a lot of that is there's a couple things, right? Like you don't want to get into something that you can't, like, especially starting, you can't put yourself in a position that you can't manage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I think that's the biggest problem for most people, right? So like for example, your buddy like has 10 clients, right? And he's doing it from his garage. Number one, is he ready and willing and able to commit to saying, hey, I'm going to be at this facility at this location Monday through Friday from 4 to like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be there and I'm going to teach and I'm going to do everything. No vacations, no calling out sick. Like that just doesn't happen. Like you can't do that. Like you sick and you're frustrated. Like, sorry, you got to go, dude. Like you got to go coach because they're paying members. And that one day you're late, that one day you're not on time, that one day you're not on it. Like people don't care, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
so, I mean, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, like that's like, so when I started like CrossFit Downey, which now has become, a bigger company of CoOp Athletics. So when I started CrossFit Downey, like literally, I think I would teach like the morning class. Like we had a 5:30 a.m. I think we had a 5:30 a.m., 6:30, and like a 7:30. I think is what we had, like or 2 morning classes, something like that is what we had. And then in the evening, we had a 5:30, 6:30, and then like 7:30. And that was it. And we were done at 8:30.
Okay.
But I would teach all the classes. So I would wake up, teach the morning class, go to work, get out at 5, gave me half an hour to get to work again, and then I would work again. You know what I mean? And I literally did that like Monday through Friday. So even to this day, for at least one facility, so for CrossFit Downey, if all my coaches like decided to quit, I'd be like, all right, cool. Like I can coach all these morning classes because I have a different schedule now. I can coach all these morning classes and I can coach all these PM classes. So I can essentially do all of that by myself,
Yeah. So I mean, so you've established your client base, right?
Yeah.
So let's take it back again. What's step one? You said finding a location and finding, the right area you want to be in.
Yeah. So I think finding the area that you want to be in, checking out your competitors, like, you know, because it's hard to go into an area, man, that like someone has it down pretty locked.
Yeah.
You know, because they're going to undercut you and they got the resources and the ability to come in and wipe you out.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'll like, don't do this Equinox, but if Equinox set up in Downey, I believe that CrossFit Downey would not exist.
I don't know about that.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, like, it's different, but I think
what we do is completely different from what Equinox. Like, Equinox offers, you know, from the way I see it, is luxury work, a luxury gym.
Yeah.
Because it's Equinox is top dollar.
Yeah.
So I think for you to pay top dollar and to just go into the gym and not work and not know what you're doing,
that is true.
That might not stray people to, you know, away from your gym. But I think what you offer, which is like a structured workout that you know is gonna work and give results, you know, people want that.
Yeah. No. I see your point. I think if you're just starting, like, I think it's hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's hard because you're not proven, right?
Yeah.
So I think finding a location is number one. Finding where your fit is. Number two, what would be convenient to the people you're influencing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I got 2,000 followers in Brazil, they're not gonna come to my location. Like, I don't care how you look at it. They're not coming, dude. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if I have like 100 followers or 200 followers in, you know, Southgate, or I don't know, some Manhattan, you know, whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever city you're in, right? Like, you got X amount of followers that believe in what you do and are like, yeah, man, like, if you had your own space, like I would go, you know what I mean? So I think that's number two, like, understanding and believing what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when I started CrossFit, like, I believed, and I still believe in CrossFit. I think what they literally, like, threw a wrench in the fitness industry. You know what I mean? And I still believe in it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So I think it's that. So I think that's number 3 or whatever, number 2. But as soon as you find the location and you believe in your product, whatever you're teaching, if you're teaching speed and conditioning or whatever, then you got to find the space. And that's the hardest part. Yeah. So, because this is where the commitment is the realization, right? Like, you and I can talk about opening up a 20,000 square foot gym with like lava lamps and fucking like sand dunes and basketball court
and all that.
Yeah. We can do dude. We can do all sorts of stuff. We could do zip lining. Like, we'll have everything, right? Like, you zip line into like a sandbox or something. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's like, oh yeah, this is the ultimate training center, right? Yeah. But it don't mean shit until you like find a spot. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you find the spot, and now you're like, okay, like, what spot fits for me, right? So, like, my biggest thing, and we're in Southern California, so not as expensive per square foot as Northern California, but also depends where you're at in Southern California, you know?
Yeah, because, I mean, it's going to be different from, let's say, Southgate to, you know, Manhattan Beach.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and depending on what city you're at, like, at the end of the day, you're looking at what the square footage price per square foot will be. Mm-hmm. Like, what is that? Like, what is essentially that cost, right? And that's how you're going to calculate what makes sense per space, per location. So, I think I'll bring up like Las Vegas, right? Because everyone knows Las Vegas. Yeah. But like, let's just say, right? I was like, yeah, you know what, dude? Let's set up a gym on Las Vegas Boulevard. Well, you know, you're gonna pay, and I'm giving unrealistic numbers, right? But you're gonna pay $100 a square foot, and you're like, oh shit, like, okay. But if you move 2 blocks down from Las Vegas Boulevard, you might pay $50 a square foot, you know. And if I move 2 blocks further than that, I might pay, you know, $25 a square foot. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what you're trying to calculate. Yeah. So, is there value in being on a major thoroughbred? Like, there is, but you're paying for it.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're going to pay for that. So it's not that, you know, I hear this all the time. Like, oh, I can be anywhere. Like, you know, like the freaking, if you build it, they will come. Like, yeah, like I believe that, you know,
I believe that to a certain extent.
Exactly. It depends. Like, I mean, out here in LA, in Southern California, like Metroflex is like in a warehouse space. And bro, people go there. It's like the mecca of like powerlifting out there, dude. Like
everybody's there.
Everybody's there, dude. Like all the big names are out there. And like they're in the small space. Like compared to like where I'm at, I'm on like Firestone Boulevard. We get 43,000 cars drive through Firestone Boulevard Monday through Friday. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's you pull that stuff off the Census Bureau, right? Like, I mean, so through transportation, like you'll figure all that stuff out. So I think that's like something that you got to figure out what's valuable to you. You know what I mean? Like, what is it? You know, and then what you can support, right? So you find the space, you know. And I don't think I told you, man. Like, I had a buddy. What kind of inspired me to do this podcast? I had a buddy that I saw this like 2-3 days ago.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, man, like, congratulations on the success of the gyms and this and that. And I was like, oh, thanks, man. Like, you know, I still find it like, I don't see myself as like a role model. I don't like, you know, I know other people like locally that own gyms like are like, oh shit, like he's doing something with it.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of becomes a role model, but like, I don't think of myself that way at all whatsoever.
It's because you're just humble.
I hope so. You know what I mean? So, but like, I just like, there's enough people for everyone to make money.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. To be successful. And, he was just telling me, he's like, hey man, like, how did you do it? And it's crazy. Cause it was just like, I want to just like word vomit, like everything, like just like, hey, I just want to like, this is how you do it. And, you know, I might miss the details. So like, that's kind of what inspired me to do this, you know? And the first thing I told him, I was like, look, man, if you're going to find a spot, like understand the spot you're looking for.
Yeah.
And if that spot fits for you. So, you know, your buddy that has a social media account has 15, 20 followers that are like getting workout routines from him, or he's working out or whatever, you know, and he decides to open up a space, you know, like, don't get me wrong, man. Like, I'm all for like getting a 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 square foot space. But man, you gotta like, there's operational issues that most people don't know about. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we'll go into some in a little bit, but a lot of people don't know that, man. Like all the behind the scenes stuff, like you just don't know, you know? So we started on a 800 square foot facility, right? And we were paying like $1,200 a month. So my thought process was, all right, we pay $1,200 a month. I need 12 people just to like cover rent, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I need 15 people for rent, and then I got to pay for water, trash, cell phone, and the website a month.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, all right, now I'm going to like, I need to make some money. So I'm going to need another 5 people. Like that's $500. So for a month, I was just making like $500. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I had my own place to work out.
Now, before you opened your gym, or before you really got into the fitness industry, did you try to build a brand at least, or you just went in and was just like, I'm going to open this gym and people will come?
Dude, to this day, like, I'm surprised I'm even doing this. Like, I never thought I would like try to build a brand.
Because it seems like what you did was like opposite. You just like opened up a facility.
Yeah.
And you were just like, people will come.
Yeah.
And the way I kind of, not like I'm this big, you know, business guy or millionaire, but I think building a brand is key to before opening up a facility. And then, you know, to see what you did was just like, you know what? I have the finances to do it. Like, I'm just going to do it.
No, but like you got to remember that I am the brand.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But that's the thing though, right? Like I knew enough people that believed in what I did, you know? Yeah. And like, I wasn't the fittest guy. Like, I had a great coach. And I really made the effort to learn. And I also made the effort, like, to make sure people were improving and getting better. Like, I wanted to make sure that if I could do something, that my friends can do something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that was like my whole thought process. Like, I want my buddy to do handstand push-ups because it looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to do pistols, and I want my buddy to do pistols, and I'm going to show him how to do pistols because it's fucking cool. Like, that's why I did that. You know what I mean? But, like, I think you kind of are right. Like, I just didn't think of, like, setting up a brand. I just thought, like
I am the brand, so I'm just going to open up the facility.
Yeah.
I know people that want to work out. They know people, so let's just
let's just do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, our gym was like referral based only though. So just because I knew how to work out, but I didn't know how to like program. Like I didn't like, and I'm still to this day, like I'm still learning, you know what I mean? Like I don't preach that I'm like any good at it, you know what I mean? But like, I think I have the right tools to meet the right people, to get the right information, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think what was different was I really focused on like quality, because I knew nobody else was doing that. Mm-hmm. And I think to this day, there's still nobody else out there doing as well or as much as we can do. Like, I can get an average, like, I give credit to one of my buddies, like this guy that I used to coach. Like, he went to fucking nationals, dude. Like, I coached him for like 2 years, and he went, like, qualified for a national weightlifting competition. Dang. And then, like, 2-3 years later, now I think he's like now 4 or 5 years in, and he just finished nationals this past weekend. Like, that's dope, man. Like I introduced him to that. Like, I had the vision, and I had the willingness and the want to cherry pick those athletes and say, you need to do this. Like, there was like a girl that I used to coach as well. She was a runner, dude. Like, she was like, oh, I love running and this and that. And I was like, dude, you're like weird strong, and I need you to weightlift. And she was just like, that's weird. I don't want to get bulky. I was like, no, you're going to learn. And like, I had that want to like help them, you know what I mean? And I think that's where most businesses fail, right? Like, they have this like beautiful facility, dude, like beautiful facility. But what ends up happening?
No one's in there.
No one's in there. Yeah. Because the coach doesn't have the want, and the staff doesn't have the want, and like, they're learning everything from Instagram, you know, or not. They're not willing to spend the time and the money to go learn from someone.
Yeah.
And I was okay with not making money at first, because I just wanted to hang out with my friends and work out.
Yeah.
Like, legit, like, that's what I just want to do.
No, because I remember we talked about this off the podcast, and we were just talking about kind of like this topic of, you know, when you opened up, and you said even with some of your equipment, it was like
janky, bro.
It was just janky equipment.
Yeah, because I didn't know of like I tried to buy the best I could afford at that time, but man, it was janky. Like, fucking my pull-up rig was like fucking bolted together, man. Like,
yeah. But you just wanted to get started.
Yeah,
I just wanted to open up your facility.
Yeah. I just wanted to get started, but I think, you know, before I got everything, like, I needed to make sure that my lease was right.
Yeah.
Like, I needed to make sure that was like perfect, because if that wasn't perfect, there was no way I was going to make money. You know what I mean? Like, there was just no way. So I think, you know, finding the correct facility for the right price makes a world of a difference. Like, that's where you know, we say this in real estate all the time, like, especially in commercial real estate. And I had a good friend tell me this. He goes, you made your profit on your purchase. You know, like, that's real. Like if you're listening to this podcast, like, you need to remember that shit. Like, if you're an investor in like real estate, you're a entrepreneurial type person, like, whatever you're buying, you made your profit on your purchase. You know, and that's like real, because if you're going in without a vision and without a thought, like, I'm going to tell you, like, you know, I'm not going to say which gym, but there was one gym I bought, like, I overpaid. Like, I fucked myself. Like, I know I did, you know, like, looking in hindsight, I was like, well, fuck, I would never do that again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know I screwed myself, but like, what am I supposed to do? Like, cry? Like, I can't fucking cry about it. Like, I got to like suck it up. You know what I mean?
You got to deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to deal with it. Right. And you just got to keep moving along, you know? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, like, you just got to be really smart about what you're going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of guys, and I think this is the biggest mistake in the fitness industry, you got a buddy that has like 30, 50 followers. They're like, yeah, dude, you open up a gym, let's do it. And they're like, yeah, all right, let's set it up. And then he buys all this equipment, maxes out the credit cards, does this, does that, gets his facility. And then his buddy's like, hey, man, like, I lost my job. His next friend, hey, man, I got in a car accident. I can't work out. Hey, man, my mortgage just went up. Like, I got to pay this. So now your 50 followers or your 50 friends that were going to sign up now becomes 30. Now what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like real, dude. Like, it's like, because I had like a bunch of people sign up and go to the gym that were my friends. But man, like, here's another like take home cue. Like, if your friend's asking you for a discount, he ain't your fucking friend.
Yeah.
Don't ask me for a fucking discount, bro. Like, I own restaurants. I own a coffee shop. I own gyms. I own like apartments. Bro, you ask me for a discount? Like, no, man. It's good. Like, I'll offer it to you.
Yeah, it's because what you're offering has value to it. And
exactly.
I think people will see past the value and because of your friendship.
Yeah.
And even with like my photography business, like I have, family that come in, or I have, some of my friends are just like, hey, can you do a photo shoot? Can you do this? And it's just like, okay, yeah, this is the price. Oh, well, can you take some off, or can you get the homie hook up? And it's like, well, no, I need to make money. Like, I'm taking time out of my day to go and do some stuff for you.
Yeah.
So like, that's the price.
Yeah. And that, I think that's like, there's stuff that people can afford and people can't afford.
Yeah.
I'm big about like, if I can't afford something, like I'm like, or it's not in my budget, I'll tell people like, yo, I can't afford this. I can afford this. Are you cool with that? No? Okay. Well, I'm like, and I can't do it just because that's what I got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people forget about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that goes the same for real estate when you're like negotiating a location, a lease or whatever, you know what I mean? So now your buddy has 50 friends. He finds a location. So now what are you looking at? So you got a location and you're like, okay, fuck now. Like, I want to get this location on, again, Firestone Boulevard or I don't know, X city. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I found a location. Now it's like, okay, now what do I do? The landlord wants to get you in like ASAP.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's like, yo, don't worry about it. I'm going to help you.
I'm going to hook it up.
I'm going to hook it up. They ain't going to hook up shit, bro.
Yeah.
Because my job, so, again, I own apartments. I own a lot of apartments. And our job is to make money off you every single day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I make money while I sleep, legit, as a landlord.
It's a dream.
That is a dream. But, I mean, every dream has a headache, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, my goal is to, and this is, again, just being straight up, my goal is to squeeze you as much as I can to still keep you there and still keep you successful.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't raise your rent $100 because that might put you under, but I could probably raise you like $45 and it's a come up for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Like, if I'm going to play this game. So the landlord's going to be like, yo, I can get you in. Look, man, like, I'll hook you up. Bro, if it's not on paper, they ain't hooking you up. Real simple. Like, if you don't have an email confirmation and if it's not in your lease, like, if you don't know how to look at a lease, hire a fucking attorney. Mm-hmm. Because most of the time, you're committing to somebody for 3 years, 5 years. Bro, I know people that don't even last married for 3 years. You're like, no, for real though, right?
It's true. It's true.
It's true. Like, so now I'm signing this paper, like getting married, right? I'm signing this paper that I'm gonna pay you to use your space for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever the fuck.
What does someone look for in a lease?
So, I mean, every lease in every city and state and country.
Yeah, obviously it's like real different.
It's a little different, but like, you want to make sure your lease rate is right. Like you'll be surprised, man. Like, I get people all the time. Like, when I try to go, like when I'm leasing for people or whatever, I'll call the agent. And the agent's like, yeah, it's $1.25 a square foot. I'm like, oh fuck, cool, easy. So we get the lease contract and it says like $225, and I'm like, hey bro, you said it was $125. oh yeah, but something came up and then the landlord made a mistake or we had a bunch of offers on it. I'm like, that's not my fucking problem.
Yeah, you told me 125.
You told me 125, and I have a written email that says 125.
Mm-hmm.
Because like over the phone don't mean shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could have coughed and said 225.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Whatever, right? So you got the lease now, and so actually rewind that. So you talk to the landlord or the leasing agent, and they're like, yeah, we can lease to you. And you're like, all right, cool. Again, the agent wants to get you in tomorrow, right? So now I'm going to go, okay, cool. Now I got to go to the city, and in all honesty, you're probably going to go to the city beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what city, like Texas is really easy. Like if you wanted to open up like a gym, it's like not that difficult. It's difficult, but not as difficult.
Not as difficult as here.
But I mean, there's certain locations that will be a little bit more work. But you want to go to the city and find out if you're zoned to be in that facility, in that location.
Yeah.
Like downtown LA has there's close to the Staples Center, like you could set one up. And then like in the Arts District, they don't give a shit. Like you could do it wherever.
Yeah, they just want anything
there. Yeah, they just want anything there. Then like south, like closer to USC, you can go there. Like so there's like different areas that you can go to. So you got to look at the map that where it fits. You know what I mean? Like you can say, all right, cool, I'm gonna go on this map, and hopefully this property lands in that city, right? It lands in that zone.
In that zone,
you know. So you go to the city. City tells you, yeah, you can go in this zone. And depending on what their requirements are, I mean, real straightforward, they're going to say, yes, you can go in, or they're going to say, yes, you can go in, but you need a CUP. What's a CUP? Conditional use permit. When you have a conditional use permit, that's where it becomes a fucking pain in the ass. So what do you have to do? You normally have to make a set of plans, which you got to hire an architect to do that. To doing the set of plans, that's probably going to cost you anywhere from like $3,000 to $5,000, depending again your state, like wherever you're at. Yeah, so $3,000 to $5,000 to like set up your get the CUP, Then you got to submit the plans. When you submit the plans,
it just seems like more of a hassle to open up your gym if you have to open up with a
CUP.
CUP.
Yeah, it's a little bit. So what ends up happening is I think for a lot of cities like Downey, like at first they weren't cool with CrossFit. Like they didn't want that because they were like, we don't make money off you.
Yeah.
And I'll get into that in a second, but they don't really make money, So I had to get a CUP, that's like $3,000. And then that's not the problem. The problem is the waiting game, right?
Yeah.
So the waiting game of I'm like, when's your next like CUP hearing? They're like, 3 months. And you're like, fuck.
You're like, I gotta wait 3 months now.
And I gotta wait 3 months. So this is where it becomes a problem. Like, and I'm dealing with this right now, like for one of my coffee businesses, so I called the landlord and I was like, how much is it? They're like $2,500 a month. I was like, dope, easy. They're like, when do you want to get in? Like, we can get you in on the 1st. I was like, they're like, give me a deposit, get me in. I was like, all right, cool. And I told them, I was like, hey, are you willing to give some money for the TIs? What are TIs? Tenant improvements, right? So like repairs.
Yeah.
So, or make it fit to what I want. She's like, yeah, I'll give you money for TIs. No big deal. She's all, but this is the catch. I was like, okay. She's like, I'll pay for the TIs, but you got to pay me rent while you're in the CUP phase. So I'm like, I was like, well, this could be like 30 days or this could be 3 months or it could be 6 months. I don't know, because the city might go, yeah, that seems like a great idea. Yeah, this might, but then it's a hearing. So that's what happens. It's like legitimately a hearing. So you got like ABC Fitness, that goes, yo, I don't want, explosive fitness here, dude. Like, I don't want them here. So they're gonna go there and cause a shit show. And it doesn't just because they don't like you or they hate on you or whatever, it doesn't mean they're gonna stop you from opening it. But it just creates another another layer of delay. Yeah, that's all it does, right? So unless they got like super homie hookups and like they're like, yo, we don't want them there at all, and you know that's a possibility. And like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not.
So if we fast forward to, like you said, you got your space, you found, location, you looked at your lease is right. Where do we go next?
So you got the city approval, you got the plan, you moved in, you got the city approval, we got the landlord is cool with you going. Now it's looking at lease terms. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's what, like, I'm telling you now, the reason why so many, and we're in 2019, we're moving on 2020, and think of like CrossFit as like the real estate bubble in 2008, in 2006, 2008, right? Think of it this way. So what's happening is all these guys that started fitness facilities, locations, gyms, and I'm talking about CrossFits, strong fit fitness,
transformation centers,
whatever fitness gym, right? So whoever started these like a couple years ago, their lease is now due, and this is where everyone gets fucked, because you were paying $2 a square foot, right? And you probably had a 3%, 5% increase a year, right? So now you're up 15%, right? And you got to keep in mind it's a compounding 3%. Okay. So what a lot of people don't know, and they don't know how to do this, and I'm kind of do it real quick. So if you're paying $2 a square foot and your rent increase is going to be 5%, okay? Mm-hmm. So at that next year, okay, you're looking at 10 cents, okay? So for year 2, your rent is $2.10, right?
Yeah.
At the end of year 2, your rent goes up another 5%, but it doesn't go off 5% off your 2%, off your $2. It goes off your $2.10.
Okay.
So times that by 5%. Now we're looking at 10 cents. 10.105 is what you're looking at, right? Mm-hmm. So plus my $2.10, I'm technically looking at $2.21 is really what I'm looking at now, right? So yeah. I wasn't paying $2. I'm paying $2.21 after year 2.
You got it.
Right? Then year 3 happens, same shit. 5% off $2.21. Now we're looking at an 11 cents increase, right? Plus 2.21. So we're looking at $2.32 a square foot.
I think all this is good too for someone that doesn't have a lot of money to open up a gym. Mm-hmm. Like, you obviously expect when you open up to be super successful, but like you said, this is something that's this is like 2 to 3 years down the line.
Yeah.
And you're, like you said, the rent is just going up per square foot, right?
Exactly.
So it's just,
Well, this is what happens, right? Think of it this way. Can you grow your business 5%?
Should be able to.
Ideally, right? No, but like realistically, man, like, it's hard, dude. Like, so I'll give you a perfect example, right? So one of my rents is $3,000 a month, right? So 5% of that is $150, right?
Yeah.
A month,
mm-hmm.
right? So at $150, like, that means I got to get 1 to 2 new members every month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For it to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't do that, then it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So I think that's the part that most people don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
They don't keep that in mind. You know what I mean? So, and it's a 5% growth every month. Every year. Okay. So if my increase is $150 times 12, we're looking at $1,800. So I need to make that first year so I can afford the second year. extra. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and then the following year it's 18 plus the 5%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 18, I mean, fuck, that's 18 new members in a year that I have to either grow and retain.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what fucks people.
Yeah, because you're, like you said, you know, we need 10 clients to make rent, right? But you're not thinking about next year because you think, hey, I just need 10 clients for rent. But like you said, if it's just going up, now it's just, that's where you need to learn to grow your business.
Exactly.
And like, you know, we can talk about, you know, how to grow your business and how to get clients and, you know, creating that brand. But I mean, that's like a separate podcast. But
yeah.
So what's the next step?
So now I think, so after you figured out how that your lease term is correct, here's another piece of advice about your lease. Like you want, again, like I said in the beginning, you want to negotiate your lease like from the beginning, right? So you want to negotiate, like a lot of times they'll do, hey, your rent increase is going off the consumer index. So the consumer index, they're like, hey, it's going to go up, 3%, 3.5%, whatever. Like that's what you're going to go off of. What I do in my negotiation is I just tell them like, hey man, I'm going to be here 5 years and I want to make sure I know my increases. And they're like, oh yeah, but sometimes the consumer index is like 2.5. It's like, no, dude, like just give me 3% or give me 2.5% for the 5 years. So I don't have to worry about it. Like I already know exactly what's coming in and I know what exactly is going out. So I can forecast, I can calculate, and I can understand who's going out and what's coming in and what's going out. You know what I mean? So I think after you got your lease negotiated, you figure all that stuff out. Then from there, is getting to the grind. You know what I mean? Like after that is getting to the grind. Like, again, I think there's a lot of people that get into this industry, not knowing enough. And unfortunately with like social media and, well, it's not unfortunate, I shouldn't say that. But I think with all the information that's out there, everyone's going to challenge you. Like everyone's going to challenge you, dude. Like it's like you teach like the butterfly pull up in a specific way. And then someone's going to say, well, I saw Invictus like teach it this way. And you're just like, yeah, fuck, I know, man. Like I get it. I'm teaching you the easiest way I understood it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's like one of the biggest problems for a lot of people, that I think most people need to learn. Number two, like I think people need to know, like, I mean, and I'm not really good about like this. I should do a better job, but just like really knowing about like injuries and anatomy, like understanding that part. Because I'll tell you this much, man, like, for example, I aggravated my knee, like just doing stupid shit. I know if I would have gone to the doctor would have been like, stop squatting, stop running, stop doing this, stop doing that. And I knew that my VMO, like the inside of my leg, was kind of like flared up. Mm-hmm. So I knew that if I spend time like massaging it, rolling it out, my kneecap will feel better because it like there's like more traction. I know what I need to do to service my body so I can feel okay, and there's shit that you're like, oh man, I probably did get hurt. Like I got to go to the doctor. Yeah. You know what I mean? But man, dude, like you need to know, like, the most common thing we hear is like, oh, my shoulder hurts. It's like, okay, cool. Like, they won't tell you like, well, I did 300 push-ups, yesterday for a fun challenge. And now we're doing pull-ups. It's like, yeah, they're blown out. They're just like, fuck, man.
They're done.
Yeah, they're done. You know what I mean? So you got to be able to like help them get better on that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think, educating yourself, getting better, understanding, spending the time to research. I remember my wife would go insane because I would get home and I would tell her I need an hour to like watch videos. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. And I would sit down for an hour and watch like different coaches teaching shit.
Just studying.
Yeah, just like essentially studying. Yeah, it's like how to do a butterfly pull up, how to do this, how to do that, like how to just do a bunch of different things. And I spent time doing that, like just trying to learn it. You know what I mean? So so I think after you found the spot, the city gave you the okay, you negotiated your lease, you're in your space, now you're in there and you're like, okay, cool. Like I'm in, like you're figured out how to like schedule yourself, like train yourself and then get ready to train for others. I think the next step is really setting up a quality program hour wise. Like, are you going to rely on someone? Do you have a partner? Do you not have a partner? Because I think that's the other like failure point, right? Like everyone's cool when you're making money, but when you're not making money, nobody's fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know, so if you have a partner, like you're going to go in with this, like with a group of friends, like, hey, like you and me, like right now, like we're cool. We're in like talking terms, right?
Yeah.
And we're saying like, oh yeah, dude, like we're going to do this, and this is going to happen. So what happens if shit hits the fan?
Yeah.
Then it's because you didn't do this and I didn't do that. And well, it's never my fault, right? It's like, it's always someone else's fault.
It's always, yeah.
But you didn't negotiate. Like you didn't talk about that beforehand. You know what I mean? So figuring out a schedule, like figuring that partnership stuff, like that needs to happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So like you said, going to getting a coach, like you said, to build this hour program, or even if that's what your fitness business is about, you know, do you think you need a lot of money to open up, just to get started, to open up?
I do think so,
because obviously for someone to get a loan for, let's just say, $500,000.
Oh no, man! I don't think you need money like that. Like, so I opened up CrossFit Downey with about, like, no joke, like my last $30,000 I had.
Oh, okay.
That's how I opened up CrossFit Downey.
Do you think that's a good number for someone to get started with?
Yeah, I think anyone from like 15 to 30,000 is a good number.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I think that can kind of get you going.
Because I think a lot of people think that when you open up a business, you need all this money. And like, for example, I want to open up a restaurant.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's obviously a lot more money than a gym. But, you know, when you're opening up a fitness gym, you obviously you need equipment.
Yeah.
You know, you need people.
But it's like
people for people to do things. Yeah.
But equipment is like a one-time purchase. Technically.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If you buy like the right stuff, like, I mean, so I'll tell you this, yeah, I started CrossFit Downey with like 30,000, and the restaurant that I co-own, I mean, I fronted the money and I started that with 280.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Completely different, yeah.
Yeah, it was like completely different animal. Like, I mean, but that included the liquor license and all that, and like we took over some of the stuff that they had and all that other stuff. But again, like, you know, I mean, you buy what you need, right? Like, it's like for me, like I think I started off with like a 6-person pull-up bar that you can have like 6 people working at the time. I had like a 6-person pull-up bar. I had 4 rowers. I want to say I had 6 barbells total. I take that back. 10 no. I almost, it's anywhere from like 6 to 10, because I want to say I had like 4 girls and 4 guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then my favorite was like I had like 7 guys, right? And then there was only girl barbells, and they're like, I don't want to use a girl bar. I'm like, motherfucker, weight is weight, dude. Like, doesn't matter, man. I can put weight on the damn bar. You know what I mean? So, you know, I didn't have dumbbells, like, because we wouldn't do a lot of dumbbell work at that time. But we had like a ton of like kettlebells. Yeah, I mean, and we had a ton of weights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I would say to like facilitate like at least a 2,000 to 3,000 square foot facility, I would probably say you need about like 30 grand.
Yeah, because like you said, you know, buying equipment's a one-time purchase.
Yeah.
But I think when a lot of people that go into opening up their first business, you're going to lose a lot of money in the begin with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, especially if you have to pay coaches.
Well, I think that would just like CrossFit Downey would not succeed if that was the case. It wouldn't succeed. Like most of the gyms would not. Like even now, like it's still kind of hard because scheduling coaches is it's a challenge on its own, and money management is like it's on its own. But if you're by yourself, like I mean, you should be doing about 60 to 80% of the classes to start off, just to get it off the ground, you know, and then until you find someone that can really help you and has the same vision and goals at you, then that's where you start stepping away, and then you work on behind the scenes how to get more members and how to get more clients and how to provide a better experience. You know what I mean?
So when it came to opening up your first gym, what were some of the struggles that you, even up to this day, that you encountered? So when it came to, you know, the buying your next gym,
I think the struggles that I still face is, can we maintain the quality of what we teach? That's number one. Like I think that's a hard challenge on its own. Number two, like not overspending, right? Like not having all the luxury stuff. Like there's like a machine that Rogue just came out with, and I'm like, fuck, I so want that, dude. Yeah. I so want that. And like I was like, each facility can have one of those, and it would be so dope. But it's like it's $3,000, dude. It's like $9,000 for that machine for 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, I could buy ski ergs for the same price. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that 4 people can use. You know, if I buy 10 ski ergs, I could take, you know, and I have 4 locations, I could just divvy it up, like 5 in one location and then 2 twos or whatever. Like you just figure out how to set it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't just buy equipment because it looks cool. You gotta
exactly
make sure it's gonna be utilized.
Exactly, and it's like, and that I think that's the kicker for a lot of like owners, right? Like they have to have like, I have to have a $10,000 leg press machine, and you're like, really? Do you really have to have that? You know what I mean? And I don't know. Like I think that's where it becomes like a business decision. You know, can you get the gym up and running? Because this is the thing, right? Like you buy big equipment like a leg press like that, you know, or I don't know, you buy a Smith machine or whatever. Like just think of it this way, like the space you got, that machine is technically paying rent.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because you got to pay it off.
Exactly. Like, so that machine is not making you more money.
It's putting you more in the hole, I guess, in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know? I think when you're just starting, you don't want to make decisions like that because you're, like you said, when it comes to finances, you're already tight on money.
Yeah.
So you should probably utilize your money somewhere else.
Well, yeah, you need to like use as much space as possible. So I just had this conversation with a friend of mine. She like, we're at the gym and she asked me, she's like, hey, can I ask you a business question? I was like, yeah. She's like, they offered me a job to work from home. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, congratulations, you know? And she's like, and this is how weird my brain works, right? So I was like, well, you know, is there a compensation? She's like, no, I just get to work from home. I was like, okay, like you don't get any more money? She's like, well, why would I get more money if I'm going to work from home? I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, all right, dude. I was like, think of it this way, right? So this office that we're in right now, like everything is paying rent. Mm-hmm. This desk is paying rent. So let's say you have an employee, right? You're at your office, and I have an 100 square foot cubicle, right? So I have a cubicle, and I have cubicle shit in there, right? Computer, a phone, cabinets, all this crap, right? And it's 100 square feet. And that square footage, because of the landlord, right, is charging, 0.75 cents a square foot. That's $75 for an employee to be in that space. Right? Mm-hmm. So you don't come out to $20 an hour, you know, like you're coming out to $20 an hour plus space.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Right? So you're like using that fucking space. So what ends up happening, if I take you out, I save that money. Right? So now I'm saving on space, like the space I'm in, the landline. Like, fuck, I prefer to pay your cell phone at $100 than have to pay for a company phone and a cell phone. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? Like,
yeah, no, that makes sense.
Fuck yeah, go work from home. You know? Like, dude, if I think I've thought about this before. I'm like, fuck, man, like, I wonder if my industry, I can get more people to work from home, because then I would just downsize.
Yeah.
It's fuck, man. I was like, and that's why, like, you know, that's why, like, stuff like the Peloton is killing it. Why are they killing it? Because they don't need a, you know, 2,000 square foot facility. They're doing hey, they're the employers that are saying, hey, go work at home and pay me now. Mm-hmm. It's literally what's happening.
Yeah, it's a good product. I mean,
it's fucking crazy.
I want a Peloton bike. Shit.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So you want a Peloton bike, so you pay a monthly fee, and you pay a membership. It's fucking genius.
And the bike is like, jeez, it's like $5,000 for
yeah,
the bike.
It's $5,000.
Yeah.
So, but they made it so easy for you to to buy one. It's $75 a month.
Yeah.
So now, so this is what I'm saying though. You're paying Peloton $75 a month and a subscription. It's a genius business model, because now instead of they own real estate, and they like a Soul Cycle, right? Like they don't, like Soul Cycle is probably going to get killed by Peloton. You know, even though they use the same bikes or whatever, but they get killed. Mm-hmm. Why? Because
it's a better model.
Money wise.
Yeah.
Money wise is a better model. That's why. And that's the problem. Like, that's what, like, the first problem I see when I go into gyms, bro, like they have like, oh, that's our front desk area. And I look at the front desk, and they have a coffee table, they have a desk, they have little cabinets, they have a display area, they have a fucking t-shirt area,
juice bar.
Well, not even, like, juice bar is cool because it actually makes money, right? But like the little hangout area, I'm like, all this shit is paying rent.
Yeah.
All this shit is paying rent. Or like my favorite, like I get this all the time, like, hey, when are you gonna make a kid space? It's like, I literally want to just say, like, I'm down to do a kid space, be $25 every time you bring a kid.
Yeah, because you gotta pay for it.
Because it's dead space. Like, that space is dead. Dude, Equinox charges $13 for 2 hours.
Damn. Yeah, because I gotta pay for that space.
But I gotta pay for it. You know?
Yeah.
And I feel weird. Like, I feel weird charging for that. Like, oh, fuck, are you gonna charge for that? Like, but, I mean, from a business aspect, like, I get it. Like, I fucking get it. Like, I see this shit all the time. I go to these, like, really cool gyms. Like, my buddy has a really cool gym out in, like, Rancho. Has a kids area, like, all sorts. I was like, yo, bro, you charge extra? He goes, no, man, it's your kids. Like, why would I charge you extra? Well, because that fucking space, that you know, X square footage that's right there is dead. Mm-hmm. Dead space that you're paying for it. You know, if you really start calculating how much dead space you're paying for, and you're fucked.
Yeah. Do you think, like, having your real estate background helped you into the fitness?
Yes.
Yeah.
1,000%, bro. Because it helped me learn how to look at a property, how to buy it, how to lease it. Like, man, I like in commercial, man, like, especially when we do like office buildings and stuff, bro, we take out like dead square footage. So like, let's say there's a pillar in the middle of like the building, and like the leasing agent comes and goes, oh yeah, this location is 1,000 square feet. No, it's not, motherfucker.
It's less because the pillar.
That pillar is taking up X amount of square footage, and I need you to take that shit out of my calculation. oh, you know, like we even go the measurement, like they'll say, oh, this is 1,000 square feet. Oh, that's cool. Like, is it from inside of the wall or from outside of the wall? Like, that's how nitty gritty we get.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you measure it from the outside of the wall, you're gaining 4 inches, linear 4 inches all the way around. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, dude, it's like that much. We look like that's what we fucking look at. It's pathetic. You know what I mean? It's not pathetic, but you know what I mean. But for real, dude, like that's the problem that a lot of these guys, these gym owners have, that they have all this space and it becomes like dead space, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, like when the kids are there and the landlord increases 5% increase, yeah, that kids area just went up by 5%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's like the number one thing that most people have to look at. You know what I mean? Most of my stuff, I do 3-year leases is kind of what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Because my look is, my next objective is, can this building or can these gyms or can that gym make enough money to buy its own building? And then I'll get into like the SBA, you know, purchasing like in the future. Like we'll do another podcast out because that's a whole different animal on its own. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like literally, man, that's kind of how I look at it. You know what I mean? So,
God, this is like such good, useful information for people that want to not even learn about, and not even with fitness, like you said, business. If you want to open up a clothing store, or
mm-hmm.
if you want to open up a coffee, like a little coffee shop, or just anything, you want to sell products, you want to offer a service, like this is all useful information, especially if you want to open up a little spot.
Yeah, for anybody that's like, you know, dude, I love beautiful locations, man. Like I love that, dude. You know what I mean? But you start looking at, like, think about it this way, like you start looking at like what Apple pays per square foot. You know, I could look it up. I'm not gonna do it now, but I could look it up, and I think Apple pays like something stupid in the mall. Like, I don't know. I think it's like $200 to $300 a square foot, like something crazy. And the reason why it's that, there's more reasons why it's like that, right? But bro, their cheapest product is like $50, dude. Yeah. Like, you know, I don't even know what AirPods. Like, no, it's not even AirPods are.
No, not AirPods.
AirPods.
I think they still got like an iPod for sale. I think they still sell iPods.
I don't know, dude. But yeah, it probably doesn't work. It's like, you know what I mean? But I don't even dude, like just thinking about it now, I don't even know what they're, other than like cases and shit like that. I mean, what electronic item in there is less than $50? I don't
know. Probably like a battery or a little connector, maybe. Yeah. I mean,
you
not like a physical product itself. It might be an accessory, but even then, like $10 maybe.
Yeah.
$5 if that.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, you're not selling shit like that at the gym.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not selling. That's just my point of view, but. And don't get me wrong, man. Like, there's probably better managers out there in the fitness world, and I know there is, of course. You know what I mean? And I just, you know, I like to share like how I did it and what I did, and I hope it does help people. And if you do got real estate needs, I can help you. You know what I mean? Like, you never got to throw that plug in there. You know?
You know, your gym is, so the one in Downey, it's surrounded by a bunch of other gyms.
Yeah.
With like walking distance.
Yeah.
How, like, if just personally, like, I want to know, like, how do you stand out?
Fuck, I don't know.
From the noise.
No, you know what, dude? Like,
because someone could just come in, try and be like, nah, walk couple blocks, they're at another gym. Try that shit out. Nah, and come back.
You know, I think number one is like I don't think...
Like, why do you feel like you were so successful with your first gym?
Because you got to make it fun, bro. Like, you play sports.
Yeah.
Right? I fucking play sports. I love being on a team. I love shit talking. Like, I might be the shittiest player on the team, but I'm shit talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just the environment I like. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like to work out on. And there's some people that work on their own, and good for them, man. Like, more power to them, dude. You know what I mean? But man, that shit does not work for me, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I like being in an environment. I like being around people. I like being around people and not talk about work. You know what I mean? I just like that, dude. And I think that's what makes it fun. You know what I mean? And I think one of the hardest things about even buying a gym and taking over is like creating a community and creating an environment. You know what I mean? Like a fun, safe environment. And I think that's probably the hardest challenge, you know, because I know that we have a good program. I know we have good coaches. It's creating the environment, right?
Yeah.
And I think the way we stand out the most is just providing, like, our mentality is to give you results. I don't fucking care. Like, I don't care. I just want you to get results.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But you got to want it as much as I got to want it, as much as I want it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people don't know this, man. And this kind of gets me mad, right? Like, you know, and for you guys that are out there that are like writing your own workouts and doing all this other stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say where I get my programming from, but I get my programming and then I do adjustments to it, like to what fits our gym, right? Like, okay, this fits our gym. This is going to do this. But man, that takes me like 2-3 hours to do. And I do it like every Sunday.
No,
and I've probably been doing that for 5-6 years, man. That's 3 hours every week that I take away from like my wife, my kids, like my 2 daughters. Like, I take time away to do that. So when someone says like, "Oh, this program sucks," fuck, bro. I take it like I get mad.
Hurts. Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah, it hurts because you're just like, you know,
like that 3 hours was for nothing then.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And people don't see it that way. You know, people don't see it that way, dude. Like, you know, and I know, like, no one, I mean, I hope not, like, but no one's out there just fucking genuinely trying to write shit. Like, I mean, I hope not. I really hope that, you know what I mean? Like, I really hope no one's out there trying to do that. But, I mean, realistically, man, that shit's crazy. Like, you just you want people to improve and get better and get stronger and get fitter and enjoy their time and company and all that other stuff, man. Like, you want that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think every first time gym owner wants, every business wants success.
Yeah.
But I've noticed, I mean, but obviously with someone with 4, you know, what were some habits that you just kind of took on from second to third to fourth?
I think I think what's killed us in the past was the bad habits were just being lazy, like inconsistent. I'm like a big person about being consistent. And I hate it when I'm inconsistent because it drives me insane. Because I think it complicates your life in general. But I think that's the biggest problem. Like, the coaches get tired, they get worn out, they get lazy, and they just start being inconsistent. And that's where it's your job to step in and be like, "Hey, man, like, I need you to do this, please. And I need you to focus on this." And I think if you can't get them to do that, you know, they might be your friends, they might be your homies or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, they're like, they're not the ones paying the bill.
Yeah.
Right? They're not the ones paying the $3,000 a month plus 5% increase for the next 3 years. They're not paying that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's where it becomes like a hard decision. You know what I mean? And like, I think as employees, like, the one thing I always see, and I see this all the time, man, I get people like, "Yeah, I want to do this. Like, I really want to do this. I want to be part of this. I want to help this thing grow, this and that." And you're like, "Cool. How are you going to help me?" And they got no fucking clue. Right?
They just get stuck.
Yeah. You know, that's like fucking people that are like, "I want to make $1 million. How are you going to get there, bro?"
Work hard, man.
I'm going to work hard. I'm going to work hard.
Well,
yeah.
How are you going to work hard?
How are you going to work hard, man? You know? Or my favorite, how are you going to do that? I want to play the lottery. You're fucking dumb. Dumb, bro. Yeah. You know? Like, you'll be sitting there. You'll win the lottery when you're 85 years old. Yeah. You know what I mean?
How do you keep people in the gym? Because it's hard. Like, I mean, the last podcast that we did we talked about holidays, right?
Yeah.
And stress in the holidays and how people just go away. But I mean, how do you just keep people in the gym?
I think like I think that's the other thing. Like, it's just like trying to connect with people. Like, I say hello to fucking I could talk to anyone, man. I could fucking talk to a wall. Like, I think that's like easy as shit. But you know what I mean? Like, I think just talking to people, man. Like, hey, how are you? How's your day? Like, genuinely, like, give a shit. Not small talk, like, conversations.
Yeah.
Right? Like when I'm like, again, I try to make it fun when I'm there. So, like, I'll say in the morning, this sounds ridiculous, but like, I'll tell people in the morning, I was like Monday morning, I'm like, hey, how's everyone doing? They're like, oh, they're like, good. And I always say, by the way, guys, good morning, everyone. Like, hope everyone's having a great morning. And I always say, are you having a good morning so far? And they're like, well, fuck yeah, I just got up. I was like, well, I got up at 4:45 to get here at 5:30, and I hit 15 minutes of traffic. So not that great, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I always ask that. So like, that's number one. Number two, I'll joke around. Like, I'll say like, how was everyone's weekend? They're like, oh, it was cool. Like, anybody do anything fun? And they're like, you'll see like a bunch of like, no. I was like, man, you guys are boring motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And then they're just like, they're like, oh shit. You know what I mean? They're like, what'd you do? I was like, well, I went, I went to here, I went there, I went this, I went that. They're like, well, I went, and then you get some conversation out of them. Like, there was I think like 2 weeks ago, it was like fucking raining or whatever. And there was 2 people from the gym in Mammoth at the same time staying in the same hotel. I was like,
they didn't know they were
and
there?
they were, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? And they, what's fucking, yeah, what's weird is that they talk at the gym.
Oh, that's awkward.
You're like, awkward turtle. You know what I mean? Like,
super awkward.
You're like, I was like, well, were you like avoiding each other? And they're like, no, I didn't see her. I was like,
that's completely
like,
bullshit.
you're lame.
That's bullshit.
Like, but that's the thing though, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like getting the conversation to pull out. And I think, you gotta be that part of that when that happens. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't do like a lot of personal training and stuff, because that's just me. If you want to make money in fitness, like, personal training is kind of where the money's at. But like, I personally don't do that just because like I like me talking to one person, I tend to start getting into like personal conversations. That's just because that's just the way I am. But not everybody likes to do that. You know what I mean? And I get it. And I totally get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and valuing your business, right? Even for me, when it comes to like photography, we could talk about this real quick. Money, for example, the price, that you charge for a client. How did you get to that price point? Because I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about that, especially for me, photography.
Yeah.
I had to like squeeze that information out of other photographers. Hey, how much do you charge for this? How much do you charge for that? Just to kind of give myself a base to be like, okay, this is what the industry's charging. So now what am I valued at? What do I feel like my time is worth? What my work is worth? And then, okay, now like if I'm going to shoot a wedding, it's going to be X amount of dollars.
Yeah. So
when it comes to, charging clients, like how did you come up to your number?
I think everyone's different though, man. Like, I think
is it just based off like what they offer, or is it just like the type of gym that they're doing, or
I think like, I know some gyms that are doing like coaching just in weightlifting. They're charging anywhere from like $75 to $100 an hour, like one-on-one weightlifting coach. You know what I mean? That's for that. For personal training, I normally see like $50 to like $75 an hour is what people are charging. I look at things this way, man. Like I hate gouging people for stuff. Like, I just really hate it, man. Like no joke, man. Like if I was like multimillionaire, right, and I didn't have that many mouths to feed, like no joke, I would probably discount my gyms. I'd probably charge like $100 and or less, like $75. Just go and work out, man. You know, like that's it. That's all I want. You know what I mean? Like if I was able to do that and and it would still run like good and successful, like I would totally do that. Like, you know what I mean? But I think everyone's different. Like, so my rates, I do them like I don't charge that much, man. Like I charge $75 an hour. And
I just think for someone that's getting started, coming up with different. Do you feel like people should have packages or just?
Oh, people should always have packages, and I think people should always have contracts.
Yeah, that's because I know some business owners that are just like, I'd rather just have 15 clients at a higher rate than 30 clients at, a lower rate.
Yeah, but I think it's growth by multiplication, right? Like I prefer to have the 30 clients at a low rate because they're going to tell their friends, and then I can increase my price. So that's 15 more voices out there than having only 15 voices. I can only reach 30. Now I'm going to have 30 reaching out to 60.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've always believed just in, seeing other gyms that just the more packages you offer, the more it's more affordable for people to come in. Mm-hmm. Like that's what's gonna grow your brand. Yeah. Like you said, if you just have those 15 people and you want like a higher rate because you're just like, all right, if I only have 15 people, it's less work, and I'm getting the same amount of money for 30, but I mean, people need options, and people, I don't know, man. I've always been a believer in seeing these other gyms that just don't have these options. Yeah. Like you need to have the options. You want to be this multi-million-dollar brand, fitness brand. You need people in the facility. Yeah. And having different, I think personally having different packages, different price points. Hey, you want to come, 3 times a week for $70? Then do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's like the big one, right? Like, I think offering different I also do believe in fitness contracts. Yeah. I do believe in that. And the reason why I believe in that is because, man, it's real easy to get like lazy. Real easy, man. Like, bro, like right now my buddy is like trying to convince me to go to Equinox. Like, hey man, it's down the street from your house. Just go there. You don't have to build a home gym. It'd be easy and this, blah, 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 like all sorts of shit. And I'm just like thinking about it. I'm like, man, like the guy, I met the guy and the guy goes, oh, it's $180 month to month. I was like, literally I sat in my car. I was like, oh, well, I'll probably go 3 times a week. Maybe that's $15 a class. Like, I was like, fuck, like, and I'm like, well, maybe I just sign up for a month and then I'll just like cancel. And that's exactly what's going to happen.
Sign up for a month and just cancel.
But if they told me like, hey man, so it's $160, but you got to commit for 4 months, I probably would be like, all right, it's 164. Okay, fuck it. Let's just do it. I probably would say yes. Yeah. Because I already know the way I am, bro. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I just prefer to like, hey, you got to pay. You got to stick to it. All right, cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I don't know. Man.
I mean, even with fitness contracts, having, better discounts for the longer contracts, sign one for 6, it's this price. Yeah. It's cheaper if you sign for a whole year.
Yeah, for real.
So,
I mean, that's just me, dude.
It's just giving people different options.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I just think, there's so many different ways of running businesses and doing them. Like, I'm hoping that the information I'm sharing with you guys, like, it makes a difference. You know what I mean? I like, my dad used to always, my dad's still around. He's a cool dude, and he always tells me the same thing. He goes, "You want a business, you make money when you sleep." Mm-hmm.
If you want to be successful and you want to be rich, you make money when you sleep.
Yeah, and it's like, all right, and I mean, the real estate stuff, yeah, it's kind of. I mean, the gyms, kind of. I kind of, You know, at nighttime, as soon as it hits, 12:01, it's like X amount of money goes in my account. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, it's just different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, all right, man. Well, I'm going to wrap this bad boy up.
Let's do it, man.
So, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Please, 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 like, share with your friends,
Yeah. So, we just recorded our first podcast with our first video podcast. So, if you can see us over there in the corner, just trying it up. But, check us out on YouTube. We just launched our YouTube channel. The first 2 episodes we didn't record, but now going forward, all the podcasts will be recorded. So if you just want to watch it while you're at home, put it on. I mean, if you want to listen, just put it on in the background on YouTube. It's CoOp Athletics Fitness. You just should be right there. And make sure to subscribe and share this with a friend. Even maybe this topic wasn't for you, but you might know someone that wants to open a business or is thinking about getting into the fitness industry. This would be good for them, right?
Yeah, something different. I think this is like for everyone, actually.
Yeah,
true. I mean, just instead of thinking of clients, selling cups of coffee.
Well, I mean, I took some tips away for even my own business, but just make sure to leave a comment, like, and rate us, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.